Hey, thanks again for bringing me around the city. I prefer not to take a risk of being lost after my last trip to Manhattan. Trust me, there are some places even I prefer not visit again.
It's my pleasure. Although I'm curious, what exactly did happen in Manhattan?
You don't want to know. Hey, how about we visit some magic shops next? Maybe you'll find something interesting.
Hold on. Did you hear something?
I think. It sounds like a
Scared mob. And it's getting closer. Huh. Weird. Usually there's no rush like this unless they announce a new fashion trend.
I think it was about something else. Why did it suddenly have 3 horns? Hey, I'm back.
Great! How's your head?
I'll be fine. I also took a detour to see what happened. I should probably say, sweet Celestia, that was tough. But it seems that I've went through all of this thanks to her. Maybe I should start charging for sending me to solve a false alarm.
Oh, I'm sure they mean well. We are all far beyond the point of seeing them as infallible beings. Well, all except for Twilight. Besides, they have to take care of the day and night cycle, magical problems, and above all, politics. Then again, Celestia recurrently seems to be trying to give me a heat stroke.
Why do you think so?
I once suggested she might be going through a millennium middle-age crisis.
Bad move. But the fact I've heard about those craziness on the way here is the reason I'm not that surprised. Besides, the result of that craziness is probably one of the best episodes in the entire series. The worst I saw was someone saying that was fine episode but nothing more. And for some good reason, since this is something we've been waiting for years. An episode showing more natural side of the Royal Sisters.
This is true. So far we've seen bits and pieces of princesses here and there. The most we got was Luna being the co-star of Luna Eclipse and the 3 CMC episodes, and much later she got her own headlining episode in Do Princesses Dreams of Magic Ship. Celestia didn't get to shine until earlier this season, pun not intended.
Yeah, but still, no episode is perfect. And in this case we're not even 30 seconds into the episode and I have a problem. How in the world map called Starlight? I'm not saying that she's a bad pick or anything, it's more about the very fact that she's summoned by the map. I call rubbish on that.
Personally, I didn't know how to feel about it at first, but after giving it a few thoughts, I think it makes sense. The map sends someone who has the proper qualities to deal with the problem. However, of the main 6, everyone has a bit of an issue. The closest pair I would see dealing with this would be Rarity and Applejack, but here we encounter the problem that we've seen this already. Besides that, all the main 6 hold the princesses in high regard. Starlight, on the other hand, is much more neutral and is not about breaking the order in order to establish order.
It's true that Starlight not being biased was her biggest trait in this mission, but let me explain my point. The map is a part of the castle that, thanks to the box from season 4, is connected to the Tree of Harmony, which contains the elements of harmony that are connected to the main 6 who are still connected to the map thanks to the box from season 4 and their thrones in the castle. Now you see what's the problem? Starlight just doesn't fit that. She doesn't have her elements of harmony, neither her throne in the castle. This should not be possible, unless it's some sort of reverse trial of becoming a new element of harmony.
Well, she and Twilight did jumpstart it and spice up your life. Maybe some of her magic got mixed into the map's magical matrix coding. Kind of like when you get an extra ingredient on your pizza, just because the pizza guy was using it on the one next to yours.
I'm guessing you're just hungry.
Kind of. I'll order a pizza and we can do the review while we wait.
But yeah, I've heard almost everyone saying that it's because Starlight's magic influenced the map. Twice. And that's why she was called. Personally, however, I'm not fully convinced by that, because the map seems to be a bit more complicated mechanism. Otherwise it might as well call Trixie one day. But given that sometimes writers seems to don't know what to do with it, everything is possible.
I'll just put it this way. Have you ever tried to reason with a table?
Okay, let's just move on. Right away when she arrives, Starlight is observant enough to find and recognize the problem she was sent to fix. Immediately she noticed the tension between Celestia and Luna.
Yeah, especially when Luna reenacts Drake Mallard before coffee. Also, while I'm not sure how Twilight spell works, most likely it's some sort of channeling spell, I just have to comment on the dialogue between Twilight and Starlight, and it's so... real.
Real?
Yeah, you know, matter of fact, realistic. We just see them talking about the problem at hand. Even when Starlight agrees with Twilight that she's not much help, or when she just wants to lay down. I imagine her going through a bucket of aspirin each week. Plus, we see, yet again, the neurotic side of Twilight to the point where she outright hyperventilates, showing that they are similar, yet different. In the same situation, Starlight needs to lie down for a while Twilight is probably walking on the ceiling in her castle right now.
We probably should also point out that Twilight seems to not learn her lesson from No Second Princess, but thinking about it, it's not quite the same when your pupil is befriending someone who you are not eager to see again, and when your pupil is sent to fix their relationship on which depends the fate of the whole country. The stake is kinda bigger, and by kinda I mean a lot. But it doesn't change the fact that Twilight was not very helpful. Starlight pretty much had everything under control, after spending some time with both Celestia and Luna, gathering all the facts, observing how neither one of them appreciates every small thing another is trying to do. Seriously, how many pancakes were wasted by Celestia if Luna is like that every morning? Come on, princess, folks in Zebraland are starving! What? Too far?
Anyways, with her observations, Starlight decided that she needs to confront the sisters, of which Twilight is pretty against, as something bad might happen.
And then that happened.
Oh, please!
Enough! There! Now you'll know exactly what it's like to be each other.
Yeah, outside of obvious fuel for haters, it's actually another aspect that could cause some serious discussion. How come not only she was able to swap Royal Sister's cutie marks, but also she successfully did that, considering how well it worked back in Magical Mystery Cure. But remember what I've said earlier? Maybe this actually is some sort of trial to determine if Starlight is worthy of being a new element of Harmony. I need to think about it later, because either that or Map could as well send Derpy on that mission.
Derpy already broke the internet once, so why not? Also, it would be fun to see the fans go pants on head crazy again. But honestly, I don't see a problem with the map expanding its influences to serve the necessity. I see it less as being unequal with an element of harmony and more of being worth of an entry in the Friendship Diary, which may be either in the tree cave or got blown up. I forget.
As for the situation itself, this turned into yet another rehash of the walking in someone's shoes plot. However, this shows again why Starlight is a good pick for this mission. At this point, when both Celestia and Luna were confronted, neither one of them would back away, and so it called for extreme measures. And although Twilight would be capable of using such powerful spell, she would never do something like that to them. Heck, she would probably never confront them. And let's face it, the plot has been used multiple times in multiple shows, but it's still true to life. We can truly understand how hard is someone's job when we would do it for a day or so. Knowing means understanding. Without it, Celestia and Luna would keep arguing, which would result in bigger and bigger tension between them. Besides, what could possibly go wrong?
I see your point. But to be honest, not saying anything wouldn't solve the problem either. In fact, I'd say they would be even bottling up the tensions. Could it be that we have a follow-up from the previous lesson? As for the switch up, I feel it's a bit radical, but switching roles is an actual therapy method used by psychotherapists, so it kind of does make sense for this to take place. The bigger issue, other than their inside conflicts, is the outer effects it would have on Counterlot. Although Starlight's plans often do follow the pattern of missing the third step.
Well, considering the alternative that might be even the repeat of Nightmare Moon event in worst case scenario, messing up with the duties of the other side is not something super terrible, because those are the damage that can be undone in some way. I mean, I know Luna is rather socially awkward and have problem interacting with her subject beyond Dream Realm, but it's not like she would cause massive panic between the ponies, right? Right?
Well, needless to say, Luna, despite best intentions, doesn't have the best pony skills. Also, it seems there exists a pony version of TMZ, but eventually we transition into Celestia's new shift.
Moon raised. It's even easier than raising the sun.
Didn't you used to do this for a millennium? I believe that she didn't fight nightmares because it seems to be something specific for Luna's power, but you did move the sun and the moon.
I'll just assume that she meant to say something like, "I forgot how easy it is to move the moon," or something in that manner.
Yeah, I think we can call it a badly worded line. Maybe we should also follow her? You know, to have a better view on what happened there. Too bad none of us are sleepy because I don't know any sleep spells and I doubt you know any. First off, how dare you? Second, good job, we're in. Third, so that's how the dream realm looked like. Fourth, how did you get in there?
I didn't drink my coffee today.
Okay, look, it's Celestia and Starlight and...
Don't worry, Starlight. I know how to handle Nightmare Moon. Yes, but can you handle me?
Hot damn, where should I even begin? The flaming mane? The armor shaped like flames? The colors that are reverse of Nightmare Moon? The sassy attitude? I could love her for the design itself. And it doesn't end here. Compared to Nightmare Moon back in series premiere, Daybreaker feels much more like a menacing villain. That's how Alucard on a loose should look like. And she literally spits fire. Calling her hot have a new meaning.
Hey dude, focus. We have an episode to review. You can ask her for a date later. Also expect a long waiting list.
She's not my waifu, okay? I'm just happy that Celeste's equivalent to Nightmare Moon is semi-canon. This is still a dream, but at least we now have name, design and concept itself present in the shell. Something that could show how not so Mary Sue she is by also having her dad's side. Although, if Celestia's power are accurate to Daybreaker's, I imagine she must really limit herself. Just imagine the damage if during the royal wedding she would hit Chrysalis with a small sun.
Wait, Commandment of the Flame Emperor? Sharp, do you know what this means? This is the reenactment of the fight between Ace and Blackbeard from One Piece!
I thought you were going to say that this foresaw Ultra Sun versus Ultra Moon.
That's too obvious!
Okay, I think you need to cool down. But while we're talking about Daybreaker, do you think she's just a manifestation of Starlight's fear and nightmares? Or is she actually something that came from Celestia?
Well, with magic you can never be too careful. Especially if you're using this kind for the first time, while simultaneously possessing great reserves of magic. 2 cases, multiple points. The best I can determine, while basing my assumptions on pre-existing examples, is that magic in Equestria works sympathetically, meaning that it can affect ponies and objects under proper circumstances just by proximity or if magic is being reflected onto them, such as the cases with Flutterbird and the cutie mark swap from Magic Mystery Cure. And considering that the dreamwalking magic is always active, Celestia can be unknowingly mixing her aura with the nightmare, something Luna would be both aware and able to consciously being able to manipulate. From how the events unfolded, I'd imagine that when Celestia appeared, Starlight imagined the fight between Celestia and Nightmare Moon, but because this Celestia was a separate entity from the nightmare, a second Celestia was spawned alongside Nightmare Moon. But if, like I assumed, Celestia influenced the nightmare, Daybreaker could have either absorbed Celestia's frustration, anger and fear, which was also something Starlight was aware of, or she was influenced by Celestia's awareness of what she can do if she let loose. In fact, Daybreaker's words speak more for the latter.
Could you repeat that in a less confusing way?
Starlight created the body, Celestia gave her personality.
Okay then, My initial theory is actually quite close to yours. However, I think that Daybreaker is either Celestia's deepest fear, born from her encounter with Nightmare Moon, that she may also turn into such being, or the same type of darkness itself that turned Luna into Nightmare Moon. And since she is using the dreamwalking magic for the first time, and we all know how well ponies can control the magic of not their cutie marks, she simply let Daybreaker slip into Starlight's dream. Celestia's reaction when they've met face to face is actually a good hint of that. She seems to immediately recognize Daybreaker, which could suggest that she herself gave both body and personality. Luna's reaction is also a good evidence.
Speaking of which, Celestia's quick reaction is to get Luna, who's having a nightmare of her own. Fun fact, Tiffany out is the 6th most common disturbing nightmare, and it usually represents anxiety.
And what number are the creepy kids?
Creepy kids are always creepy. But she's saved by Celestia before they can start singing and playing with a jump rope. Luna reassures Celestia in her power as the two sisters reconcile once again, after which Celestia delivers one of the most badass lines of the series.
You can't destroy me! I'm everything you want to be! No, you're not! You are not real, and you will never exist again!
Yeah! Who's the Sand Queen? This is the side of Celestia everyone wanted to see for the longest while. And it's not even about her getting a good fight. We wanted to see her as powerful enough to protect the land for 1,000 years. As much as people joke about her getting off-screened, this gives credit to the power of the enemies such as Discord, T-Rex, and Chrysalis when she's fully charged. We have known that she can be both motherly and a bit mischievous. Now we also know that when the chips are down, she can go full on sunshine on your flank.
Heck yeah, as if this episode couldn't get any better. We have Celestia taking direct action and defeating evil forces herself instead of relying on others to do her work. However, there is a slight problem with it, similar to Daybreaker. This is still a dream, and since Celestia is using Luna's magic as a dreamwalker, she has full control over Dream Realm, and pretty much the whole fight too. All she needed was Luna helping to realize that fact and encourage her. As much as it's great to see her defeating evil herself, it would be much cooler to see her doing that in real world, where she can't control the reality and where the danger is more real. But hey, at least this event brought Celestia and Luna closer to each other than they were before.
Okay, I guess it's time to wake up.
Okay, now concentrate. What was that? Bah!
What happened?
I don't know, I saw something flash yellowish and I woke up. Let's wrap it up.
Alright, so once every pony woke up, we see that Starlight is one heavy sleeper, Luna can't cook, and Twilight became a princess of stocking. Also, Celestia will have to fund a school trip and calm down a whole town.
Overall thoughts on the royal problem? What else can I say that this episode is amazing? When I read the synopsis for this episode, I was overly excited and overly worried, because combining both Starlight and Royal Sisters was a bit of a risk. But back then everything would be good in terms of developing Celestia and Luna more. My only hope was for it to not be weak. Gladly, we not only have great development, but also great episode. Despite my problem with it, Starlight being called by the map is, in my opinion, quite smart move to make her confront Royal Sisters and look at them deeper than perfect sibling surface we had so far, except that one gag in Slice of Life. And I certainly enjoyed Daybreaker concept being semi-canon. It creates a good balance for Luna and Nightmare Moon. And her design is also kick-flank. As for Starlight herself, sometimes she felt like she is just a plot device, a catalyst for this conflict, so to speak. But even the episode itself said she was a necessary element, and overall she's still contributing to the story and her character in general. I hope that the problem I have with the map in it will be addressed later, but this is still an easy candidate to be one of the best episodes of this season.
Like I said, Celestia has been due for an episode for several seasons now. The fans wanted it, and even some of the creators did as well. And this season, we already got 2 episodes where she's one of the headliners. This time we also get to see another way she can interact with Luna, with the public, and when she's alone. As well as we can see how Luna handles the public, and what else they both do in their spare times. And I'm pleased that we are shown again that this Luna is much different than her comic verse counterpart. I'm on board with Starlight being the mediator between the two sisters, as she's one of the few who would cross the boundaries and give Twilight a heart attack while doing it. And speaking of, probably the interactions between the two are my favorite part of this episode, even when compared to the action scenes, which is again something that is both pleasing for the fans and integral to the story. So yeah, I agree when people put this episode really high on the top ranking.
Overall, this episode is a natural 10 out of 10, and I hardly can imagine how you can top that. But what are your thoughts? Do you guys love it? Or maybe find it to be just fine? Let us know in the comments. I'm Sharpwit.
And I'm Grey Silvermane, the gentle colt of Canterlot.
Well, it's been fun, but I still want to visit some magic shops.
Oh, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for a Dofus.
You mean like Manga Kamen?
No, I said Dofus, not Doofus. It's an ancient magical dragon egg, a rather powerful one.
Let me check in the storage.
Come on, these are extremely rare, no way you could have one.
I would say super rare at most. Go ahead, pick one you need.
What? Wait, how?
Ooh, pizza's here.
Pizza? Can I have a slice?